Good morning. Afternoon? Nope. 11:30. That's right. Good morning. Hello, hello. Hopefully everybody's doing well this morning. Make sure to refresh your streams here. If you're seeing this a little bit lag, make sure it says the live there. So on and so forth. You'll see a little live in the bottom left-hand screen so you're not behind. And so on and so forth. All right, looks like audio's on. Just a little quick test. Looks like everything's going on well. Morning, everybody. 14 people starting to roll in here a little bit. Awesome. Okay, so we'll kick it off right away. So in this part one, there's a lot to explain here, but we're going to go over daily setups, how we set up our day trades, our scalps, our huge over-under levels. Fibonacci use very, very high here. So we're going to be teaching you guys how to pick candles, why we pick them, and the biggest takeaway on taking some of these trades, reducing risk at first tag algo levels. So we're going to cover the trade setup Monday through Friday. We're going to use last week here and pretend we're setting up for it, right? So we're going to be coming in from 1.6. We're going to be at 113. We're trading for 113, planning from 1.6, okay? So at the longest standing time frame, right, is the weekly for TA we start. And step one to start the week is we set up news, right? Plain and simple. We need to understand what's going on for the week. So we come into here. I want to know the basics, where the fear greed index is. If you guys check this out daily, there's a million websites that have produced this. We have the trade exchange here for me at Boiling Trading that has live feed and these little weekly updates. And then most importantly, I need to understand, right, where the data is coming in. So it's a really big piece of the pie where we see, oh, they actually updated it just now. This is not last week's. So I had last week's on here, and then I just went to week ahead. They just updated it right now. All right, no big deal. So we'll go to our Discord quick here. So in that newsletter, we come into the week ahead, right? And that week ahead looks like this, and it gives us the data for the week, right? Monday the 13th is where we're planning. 17th is the end for that Friday. I need to understand what each day in pre-market has to bring: PPI, CPI, retail sale jobs, right? Maybe some PCE or income expectancy at the end of the week. We need to understand where the biggest points of interest of news are, right? So we're not just going flying blind. We're in a trade, let's say pre-market, and CPI hits at 7:30 and you had no idea, and you see this candle just explode out of nowhere because you weren't paying attention to the CPI candle. So rule number one, obviously, every day and every week is pay attention to the data that's coming out. We have a Powell, we have an FOMC, do we have CPI, so on and so forth. We need to note that. And we do check that every time on the trade exchange. So when we get that, I need to understand also where, if there's any news globally, if you're, they're gonna put it in a newsletter for you. You're gonna find it at any website. X has 1 million accounts you can follow, so on and so forth. Just pick one and get used to it. So this is next week, so we're gonna get off that. Coming up, and then I'm gonna check. So first and foremost, we're at news. I want to understand. I want to know where everything is. Very blurry. Adjust. Use gear control. Sorry, guys, just seen that. Yep, make sure you're on the stream. So the little gear on the bottom right hand, just go to the auto, and it should be at 1440, 60 frames because we're doing 4K. So after we come into the news pieces, and we know when we get into the intraday, and we know where the news pieces are, so we're not going to get slammed by things like CPI candles that look like this in the pre-market, PPI candles that look like this in the pre-market. We need to be prepared for those news pieces first and foremost, okay? And then we're going to come to the technical analysis point of interest and how we set up the trades. And TA, technical analysis, the basics, is the longer the time frame, the stronger the level. So we're obviously going to start with the weekly, okay? And I'm going to give you the most basic, easy to follow instructions here to really limit your risk. Pay attention to these, please, the best you can. You're going to hear me say first tag metric a lot. The first tag price action enters into a fib zone, a moving average, a VWAP, or vice versa. We'll go over. That's a very big key point of this video as well. Pay attention to where we say first tag metrics. Now, again, 113 is the plan to trade. 1.6 is the setup. So I'm going to take my weekly. I'm going to go high to low right off the bat, plain and simple. I'm going to edit these to do teal, and this is how I start the structure of the pre-market breakdowns every single day. Monday morning start or the last week's close. So again, last week, obviously, as we traded it already 113, planning it off the 1.6, so I fibbed out that. We are going to pretend we're coming into 113 for the trade day. So we have our weekly set up. We don't have any other candles, right? So we're going to make believe, we're going to go back in time here to the Monday morning setup. All right, so if you've been watching the channel for a while, we know that the 100 EMA was a short target of ours, right? You're watching the channel, you're following along. We understand that very, very big first tag metrics at that 100 EMA were something that we were looking for quite some time on trend. And I do want to just touch on that. Trend is friend, right? So we need to understand, are we in a downtrend right now? Are we pulling back from all-time highs? That goes with the news and psychology. I kind of forgot to add there, but we need to understand where we are in the market. So we knew we were in a downtrend, and we knew we had an opportunity to come to the 100 EMA. We've been talking about it for over a month and a half, calling the YouTube videos, check them out if need be. Now, as we're coming down to that 100 EMA, we know that 100 EMA is going to be a first tag metric since we broke over it back, stupid draw tool, back here, and we never returned. We snapped over this green 100 EMA, and yada, 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 look at the YouTube video. We never came back down. So when the price action came down into that 100, there was a very big snap action. I don't care if it's up or down. We were looking for either. It's all about the confirmation of pre-market and the next day. So we start the week, we start the Monday, the sentiment is down, and we know that first tag 100 EMA is coming, okay? Oh, that's the 5 day. Let's get some more room here. So we come down into this trade day. And it's Monday morning, and I don't have a whole lot to go off of because I don't have any daily candles that have first day metrics. It's not Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's the first Monday. So a lot of the times I'm stuck in pre-market, right? I'm looking for weekly, daily moving averages first. Obviously, the 100 is going to come into play here. And then I'm going to pay attention to the pre-market. A lot of the time, pre-market on Monday is the only data I have. So I start with pre-market high lows, okay? Wherever the pre-market high had hit, wherever the pre-market low had hit. Generally speaking, these can be historic levels every single day. This is not a first take metric. It's just something to keep in mind for a guide. So if I were to take these, extend them to the left where pre-market high low is, I would understand going to the daily or weekly chart that historically, I may run into some very cool candles, some very interesting candles. And right off the bat, when I drew the pre-market high low right here, I looked to my left. Okay, we have a double gap candle. That is very close to, I don't know, the perfect bottom of the double gap candle and the close of that double gap candle. Got some really interesting close and opens on here as well. So I know 505.20 and about 500, wink, wink, psychological number, is very strong. 500, double gap. So I'm understanding that this is a very premium level that I'm going to want to watch. $500 psychological, double gap, tons of stuff going on. I think I see an all-time high. Yep, prior all-time high hits right here. Top of the market all-time high here. So I know historically, because it's a Monday, I don't have much to go off of. Pre-market high-low levels are going to matter. So what does that mean? You guessed it. Fibonacci pre-market high-low, because those levels are so strong. And I just went back and checked those levels to make sure. I keep going to the 5 day instead of the 10. There we go. So I changed the gold level to the bottom here, and just for sight purposes, I'm going to go to the gold level here as well. And I'm going to fib out the high-low of pre because it's a Monday, and I have nothing else to go off of for first tag metrics. So I know the pre-market high-low compared to the live trading. Here's live, here's pre. That this high-low Fibonacci is going to help me out with at least some trend direction. And we obviously have something that takes precedence over that. Obviously, the 100 EMA daily, that is going to completely dwarf and trump a 5-minute high-low fib, right? Daily moving average versus 5-minute chart, what's stronger? Daily. So this is still going to be our main concern for the day. But if we didn't have this coming up, this is still how Monday would be set up, okay? So as we come into the day here, we just zoom out one more time bit, and we can see that pre-market high-low Fibonacci is once we got rid of this first tag kind of chop, because we know when price action on the intraday is going to come near something like a first tag 100 EMA daily, it's going to get a little weird. That's the psychological aspect we need to understand coming into the trade day. If we hit something like 100 EMA, the price action might be a little weird. It's not going to be perfect. So me coming into the trade day, the main focus is what? Well, first tag 100 EMA. So if I'm at a pre-market high to low, I'm paying attention to the golden pocket, and I'm super paying attention to what? Here's the GP of the pre-market high-low. We usually turn these purple. I'm paying attention to the 100 EMA, and we call these magnets in first tags, right? You can hear me say that a lot. It comes into golden pocket, and our thesis to the 100 EMA tag, that was the whole thesis. So in pre-market, why would I not be looking for weakness from pre-market high, pre-market low, GP, the golden pocket we have here, to send resistance check and send it into the 100 EMA? That is a first trade I would be watching for trade ideas. If I see that price action, it's kind of hard to see. We can change this to a little easier to see through here. If I see that action starting to fail the golden pocket, especially giving me a lower high, lower low in sequence like we see here, I see the RSI converging, the MACD is getting weak. I understand that I have a certain amount of risk management. I can take a short here, right? And what would I use for resistance? I'd look to my right and go, well, I got a really big 503.82 level that has not been tagged yet. Wink, wink, first tag. So I know even if I do short right here, the likelihood of pushing into the weekly and coming down to my 100 EMA target is one option A that I would like to see. And option B, if I see continued weakness, where we did see continued weakness, you could have caught the confirmational here, break in structure, lower high, lower low in price action, got stuck under VWAP. And of course, the biggest takeaway is the magnet towards the 100 EMA. That is a short bias trade setup, right? Number one. So as we get into the day, we have the Fibonacci high-low pre-market helping us out. And notice, after the struggle of the intraday chop, after hitting the 100 EMA, it started working out very clean late day. We had some very good over, under, and backtest confirmations here, utilizing minimal indicators. And minimal indicators, I'm going to pause kind of here, and we will cover this in part 2, 3 as we kind of get in, but I minimized it to just VWAP and 100 EMA. We're going to stick to big price levels right now, but part 2 is going to cover a lot of the intraday and why some of this stuff is very important. So the big high-low gives us the golden pocket, breaks out, gives us higher high, back test, higher low, trend works. And your first tag metric comes in very interesting. So let's talk about those first tag metrics again here for the biggest time frames. So on the 5 minute, okay, 100 EMA hits. So I know my short bias trade we just talked about coming into the 100 EMA, we have a high probable chance to what into the 100 EMA? Bounce and pop, right? So this is our first tag of the 100 EMA in quite some time. Comes up and again rejects. Look at these candles. These are some weird candles right here. This 5 minute, 15 minute consolidation. Those are gnarly candles. Those are some wicks, right? My eyes are going to pick this up right away. And I'm going to go, okay, well, I shorted into the 100. That's clearly going to be a massive support. You got the scalp long, and what is it magnet to? Well, the golden pocket, because we still need a live tag of the GP. Remember the golden pocket that is from pre-market high-low? Right here? That's just pre-market action, right? We can still come back up and hit live market action. Again, live in the black, pre in the gray. So once we hit that 100 EMA daily, it came up and pushed into a live tag of the golden pocket. Same thing. Those are intraday metrics we like to see. Now, first tag, very interesting. Remember, this is last week's 100% fib, the low, right? 503.82. What do we expect? A bounce at the 100 EMA, right? Comes up. First tag of the weekly, right? We had diverging price action at first, came to higher low in all oscillation indicators, right? The moving averages here on the MACD, spikes on the RSI, higher low, not breaking under that 100 EMA, starts to squeeze. And I'm big on VWAP, so the second I would have used over under VWAP, and if you notice price action, the center VWAP is here, +2 orange, -2 blue. Pushed into almost -2 oversold territory, right to +2, right to -2, broke out VWAP, so you can play these as breakouts, right? But what would my metric be? Well, first tag is right here on that weekly. So again, day tradable, first tag. This is Monday, the new weekly candle from last week. So this first tag of that weekly, I know is going to be a first tag large metric. So if I was long from the 100 EMA double bottom, or I was targeting the opposite trade, going long, and then I missed the long, well, I'm going to try a short here because, again, statistically, likelihood of blowing through a +2 VWAP and a weekly first tag with no PPI, anything else data to go on, that's going to be a pretty strong short, right? And then you did get confirmation here on golden pocket again. It kind of wiped out and ran. Let's talk about a little bit intraday real quick on just this indicator before we go back into the daily and plan for Tuesday on how I would have taken this intraday setup as well. I'm not going to spend too much time. Again, I want to get to the how we keep setting up day-by-day practices, but the 15-minute open is something that we use a lot. We always have drawn on. We put over-unders on it. But notice, because this is the first tag 100 EMA, this baby, first 15, is going to be extremely important. So we can fib again. Now, what do we see for our fib again, right? Let's back up one more time, try to get the likelihood back to the 5, so we can see it much better. So now we know we have intraday fibs. It does get a little messy, sure, but once I show you guys how to find the over-under, we can just delete a lot of those. So the 15-minute high-low is now produced. Well, in that opening drive on the 5-minute chart, we had a lot of interesting data with this scary candle. What did it do right here? These scary candles we talked about into the first tag of the GP. Well, it shied the weekly first tag, and then it came back. Market's very good at that, right? So when I seen that rejection point, what else could that help right here? Well, the first 15-minute candles, right? Well, if you see the first 15, it was created off 1, 2, 3, 5-minute candles. So this one that came down and held the golden pocket, Now remember, this is 15 minutes, so all these candles don't really exist for first tag. This is part of the 15-minute candle. Those 3 5s don't matter, but we got to go into the intraday chart to help us out, right? So the 5-minute caught what? Higher lows, and it pushed right to the 1618. Why is that so important? The 15-minute is the first tag of the 100 EMA. That's why we drew the 15-minute high-low open, and this one is going to be extremely strong. So we have a plan. It goes over the GP, breaks over the 100, hits the 1618 for the first time. So you're long above the golden pocket to the 1618 is a scalp of like 80 some, I think it looks like, just about. Oh, over that, to that trade. That is the first tag metric. Now, because these nasty candles appeared, and you notice these body closes under the 100 EMA, this is not something I would see continue. That is not a candle setup I would look for continuation, right? This is not a nice, strong flag pattern off of our breakout. We have a lot of price action saying, I shied this weekly up here. We hit all the golden pockets first time in the live trading from our pre-market high-low, so I know I could actually relax a little bit here and come back down. So we're navigating chop, right? And the harder part of this one is to get outside of that fib again, because we already have the best trade of the day. First tag golden pocket, first tag 1618. That scalp right there, leave the rest alone, right? We have a really good trade set up. You had a monster trade there. You got to be really picky for the setup. We zoom out a little bit here on the same fibs. Well, what would be one of the next things to watch for? Well, obviously a trend break, because we're kind of stuck in the choppy consolidation of pre-market high-low fibs, because that's all we got. So I'm looking to 502.50. 502.50, nice half whole dollar, good. We had broke over it and failed, lower high'd it and failed, and then what? We broke over the golden pocket, and oh, lo and behold, perfect tag to the 50. And what did it do? Found support on the golden pocket confirmation and the 1618 from the 15-minute open. So if you missed that first run, you'd say, I'd rather miss it than risk it. What do the algorithms like to do? Shy. We just talked about that here. Look what happened. Shied the weekly, slammed the weekly, first tag reject on the way back up, 2618, shied, back down, confirmation of support, golden pocket 5036, 1618, and 100 EMA shy. So we knew that once that candle started closing up here, right, on the 5-minute chart, that 100 EMA that shied it here and here, it was a higher chance to run away from that 100 EMA because the price action refused to back test the 100 EMA. Here's your 2618. Again, first tag, what happens? Womp, right down. And then it shied the 100. That's the pre-market high, and then caught the 10 SMA. Another indicator here that would have helped you on confirmation and just not touching these trades till the confirmation comes, right? It comes up, 10 SMA, right, along with that 50. So it rode the 10 SMA as well. And it does very good jobs riding the 10. Then what do we call this play right here on the 10 SMA? That's a loop, right? So it broke over the 10 SMA in the blue dashed. Watch our moving average video on the channel on how to use these. 10 push, 10 push, 10 breaks. That's the trap for shorts. Price action loops right to the 2618 higher high. That is a standard algo lesson on those moving averages. All right, back to the big time frames, okay? That is how I would have played that 100 EMA. That whole day trade setup right there had such premium levels. Was your favorite chart? Yep, 100%. So now, moving into the next day, I'm going to leave some of these fibs on. It's not going to be the first 15-minute tag, right? It's going to be the weekly, because obviously we have a huge percentile to do what? Travel back to the golden pocket for inside the weekly. So let's delete most of the fibs here. And we're going to leave our weekly, and we're going to leave that, well, we're not going to leave this pre-market high or anything like that. There we go. We're going to leave that weekly. So we finished the trade day Monday. We're into the daily chart now. Okay, remember, weekly started right here, Monday candle, first one of the week, obviously. We didn't have a daily candle to go off of. We only had what? A weekly and pre-market. That's why we drew it the way we did. Comes into the 100 EMA candle. Now we're talking, right? Now we're talking. First trend tag down to the 100 EMA. This Monday candle is your new best friend because we're aggressive traders Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, not so much Monday and Friday. So we start again, just like the weekly. We're planning for Tuesday the 14th. We will now take Monday that we have completed, high-low. Why is this candle important? We're going to take a small break right here, and we're going to talk about candle importance. When I'm picking these candles, now we're kind of stuck with this one because it's Monday, we don't have anything else. But what makes this candle extremely important is the algos talked to the other algos. The team algo on price action that is this Monday gap down, gap down, common gap down, pushed up. It's also a first tag moving average talking with the guys that gap down. Those algos talk to each other. This first tag right here is huge because it was a big shy. So they're both saying, okay, well, we got a lot of strong first tags coming. Well, why is that? Well, we're planning for Tuesday and we need all the fibs here on Monday to be first tags now too, just like the weekly. The weekly is no longer a first tag. We're not worried about that. So let's select a color for Monday's high-low. Let's just make it neon green so it's easy to see. We're going to head back into the trade day and psychological catalyst number 1 pops up into our head. What did we do? Step 1, news, right? News. We said, oh crap, PPI is coming at 7:30. We need to pay attention, right? So we know at 7:30, don't be messing with candles around here because we know that something nasty could potentially come for PPI data and push. So we know to be out of the candles, okay? Now let's focus on this green Monday candle. You're going to see that first at that 1618. So here's your high-low Monday. Here's the extension. Interesting, interesting. So what do we know about first tags, right? What do we know about first tags? Live. What do we talk about? Pre-market, live. 1618 live is at 510 pretty much, 509.99. That is the 1618 first tag. And this is how I use algo magnets. What's important here? Pre-market hit, the 1618. Look at that reaction. This counts as a first tag pre-market, right? I'll give it that. I don't use those that much, but I will give it that. This PPI, let's scoot back so you can see it one more time. The after hours was not a tag. That was a shy. Then it just chopped. First tag pre, reaction, where did it go to? Well, that was hard. Yesterday's high is the 100 fib, right? And then it bounced, obviously, into data. There's no telling what data would have did. Nothing to do here. So now we have a very interesting point of the daily high-low. I don't need to use pre-market high-low anymore. Because why? Well, I have a daily Monday that needs first tags. Obviously, the golden pocket. Wink, wink. Look at that. Weird. And then we have something called the PPI monster candle right here. This guy, I'm going to fib out. High-low. Push, right? Good. First opening trade after PPI. How do I use the data candle? What is my trade setup for the pre? After the candle is created on the 5-minute chart, because you're not gambling the data. You're not going all in 50 NQ high-low right here and guessing the move. You're traders. You're professionals. You wait for confirmation. So we create a high-low fib again. We focus the golden pocket. Not too hard, right? Big old PPI candle. We fib out the 5-minute, like always. We already had a first tag in market and pre. Look where the data came back to. Interesting. Looks a lot like the price action wants a live tag. So we're keeping that in mind. Live tag, first tag algo. So the PPI is created. It comes down. It starts to do what? Holds the golden pocket. Holds the golden pocket. So what do? I short the lower high failure down to the GP because that is a scalp trade that we take a lot off the data candle. Because if it comes up, puts a lower high in, we start to see convergence on the RSI. And again, a lot of times we'll drop to the minute chart for this as well. So just to keep in mind here, we can use the 5-minute high-low. We're going to move into that minute chart to help us out too, because some structure builds are a little better on the minute. You're going to see a better version of that lower high, and then finally hitting the golden pocket lower. And then what is this? Fresh low scam to magnet, right? So my trade psychology here, I got a 5-minute high-low, and I know that the Monday high-low, 510 we talked about, needs a tag. Needs a tag. It's going to be first tag. What does that create? A magnet in my head. So I'm creating a magnet, and it's shooting its cool magnet stuff. How do they even work? I don't know. But it pulls the price action up and comes into the 1618. So my trade plan for the day is, well, we could come back to equal highs as long as what? We hold, you guessed it, the golden pocket. Simple, simple trade stuff for momentum. We change it purple. Make it a little clearer so we can see, a little transparent here. Oops, it's not the right one. I don't think either of them work. Okay. Golden pocket. Look how it respected the 50 fibs. Golden pocket. It did loop it a little bit here, broke down, but once it started snapping up, we knew the magnet and we knew the top. Let's say you missed that trade, no big deal. It flushed out. That's a hard trade to take-ish. Not terribly, but we know QQQ's personality very well here. So if it broke under the 100 and looped it, the second it got over that 100 EMA again, I'm long. So that's for us. That's we know loops. So it looped over that, or rather under that, and then snapped back up. If you miss that long, what's your long target? It becomes short scalp entry, right? So I know that the first tag of the 1618, first tag and algos are speaking to each other here, that yesterday's high-low, Monday, puts me at a very high advantage for a resistance play here. And what is my risk? Well, if I missed the long and came all the way back up, I know if I don't touch any buttons until price action actually hits. And one of my favorite terms is I'd rather miss it than risk it. I'd rather miss it than risk it. Like, why would I short right here and just guess what, this resistance from pre-market? Absolutely not. This is a PPI day where we have a huge support. This random top, why? It's so close to the 1618. You might as well just wait to see if it hits the 1618, because if it doesn't hit it, shy, 10 SMA, slam, you're going to get smoked, right? Say you short here, you come down and it blows you out and you're like, oh shit, I blah, 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 and then you're stopping out here. Don't do that. Just wait till it hits. Let's just see if it hits first, because if it doesn't and it starts structure down, we're going to confirm a lower high anyway, then we'll take the trade later. So don't add risk. Wait for the first tag. First tag 1618 comes in. What do we see? Beautiful rejection, right? On the way down. Ooh. Now we're getting kind of, now we're getting trade plans set up for late day here on PPI still. We're going to go over we're going to keep rolling this whole week here. Remember, these are the trade setups every single time in intraday. And now I'm starting to see overlap. I'm trying to do this live, so it's a little wonky. Where's my overlap? PPI Fibonacci drawn, pointed to the downside, 1618. That 1618 seems a little suspiciously close to my weekly 100% 503.82. And what do we say about the golden pocket that needs a tag? This is Monday's golden pocket. So we are dealing with PPI golden pocket and Monday high-low golden pocket. Let's draw this out quick. Watch this trade setup right here. So I'm planning for my next day trade. I'm not touching anything, buy, sell buttons, any of that stuff until this hits, right? So what do I see stacked here? Well, a weekly, a golden pocket top, and a 1618 all right here. So you see me draw these zones a lot of the time, right? And this is where 3 different Fibonacci's overlay. Well, I kind of want to know what the hell is going on here. So let's take a peek at the bottom here. So we got the lower high, the lower low break. We fell out of the PPI range. Anything under 506, and I remember saying this on this day, we shorted it. Anything under 506 trend is going to come down to the 1618. Well, that was real hard. What else happened right there? Monday's highs, right? 506 and 6 cents. That's the 100 fib. And once a fib breaks into the 100, what do we look for? The GP. So we had definite trend definition. What are our oscillation indicators saying real quick? RSI, bottom channel for quite some time. MACD, perfect downtrend. Enough said. But that brings us to the reversal point. What do I say a lot on timing the market reversals? I get out of here at 10 and I say, a lot of the time I say, let's go to 10:30:11. Why do I say 10:30:11 Central? Because that's EU close. The algorithms from different market affect our markets a lot of the time. So I tend to look for after 11 a.m.-ish reversal times. And we're going to pair up reversal times of psychology with first tag, okay? Technical analysis. So let's go see what we can do with this. Well, it looks like a lot, actually. So we got an over-under for all 3 fibs we discussed. And what are we waiting for? We broke into Monday's candle. Monday's high, 506, 6 cents. It breaks inside. Oh, golden pocket. What do we know about gold? First tag. Look what kind of scalps we got here. First tag of the 50. We know it slips past on QQQ. Slams back to the weekly. Broke level. Back test level. We call that confirmation. Comes down to the bottom of the perfect penny GP of Monday. Wow. Okay. What do I see now? I got to check my oscillation indicators because I'm coming into a what? A premium point of interest, a first tag. I'm going to look down at my oscillation and go, hey man, we got divergence. We got the sellers stepping aside on the MACD since 10:30. We got the RSI higher lowing at about 11:18, 11:15 there, while we're hitting a golden pocket first tag support with the divergence of a lower low. And what do we know about fresh low scams in the market? God, they love stopping out all the longs and then shooting the other way. Psychology, right? What else could I do to help myself build confirmation here? Okay, because I'm at a huge over-under. I got 3 fibs right here at 503.60, 503.80. I need to do something with this orange level. I need to do something with this first tag. There's 2 things I would think of right here, and this is called a hidden fib system. And you can use the candles here too. Let's use the candles because they're pretty much paired. Look at this flag break, 5-minute, that touches the first tag, up, candle consolidation, long. Obviously, we're after 10:30, 11. You start looking for potential reverse or continuation. It happens a lot. It's just a great zone to watch, right? Extra confirmation. I'm going to do a flag high-low. So I'm going to take, why are these candles important? Huh? First tags. I told you I was going to blow you guys up with that. I'm going to fib high-low, and let's see if, I don't know where this is going to work out. Let's see if we can pick a top here. So these 2 high-lows I would take because they're first tags in the golden pocket. Holy smokes, get out of here. So we come to that bottom, and what did we see? Well, that's interesting. Golden pocket tag. So we got the high-low of these 2 5-minute candles, and the reason I use these 2 because it has a first tag metric down here. And you could have used just the first one too. You're just going to get less of a move, I think. But we already know the MACD is swapping, the RSI, the 10:30, 11. We're stacking catalysts in our head, the psychology of reversal potential. We need a retrace. Nothing goes in a straight line in the stock market. So as we come to this Fibonacci retracement, I'm going to look to my right and go, damn, 502.87 is massive. Why? Golden pocket of yesterday, Monday. So I know where it tagged right here perfectly, that second candle, right? That's a good support. So even if I was long into the orange zone, because reversal, we got divergence that we talked about and a whole bunch of reason to go up, I can long micros. I could just snake some micro, even down here. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're building trend. We're following the RSI and MACD. We're assuming we could at least get up to the 1618. That is our high probability first tag trade. So after my triple Fibonacci point becomes a breakout zone, because why wouldn't it? Because it broke down right here through, back tested that zone, confirmed that not only that it was a shy zone, a break zone, a back test zone, and a breakout zone. Why? Triple Fibonacci. I don't have to keep all that on the chart. After I draw all those fibs, I'll just channel it out and say, okay, once I see price action start to go above this, I'll fib out something maintenance-wise for first tag farther to the right. And that's drawing these candles because I don't need to use all the other old Fibonacci. These are all going to be first tags. Happens to push out, 100% fib, 1618, and generally speaking, that's where I'm out of like 90, 80% of my position. So if we start breaking back down, it usually comes to the 100, and then it can make a decision again. But this one blew right past. And why was that more the opinion of the day than anything? Well, we had a really strong chance to retrace because, again, VWAP. I'm very big on VWAP. It comes on range. So if this is the center in purple, -2, -2, we're getting beat up, -2. We finally find support, and where is my target range? In my head, I know, okay, well, I have all my first tag metrics we talked about. I got all my support. I got all this amazing limited risk buy bottom right here, right, from Monday's GP. I know that I could at least get back to VWAP. So even if I take the trade here, I'm out 80% here, and then I go to VWAP, and I don't want to miss it then risk it. What's the algorithm do? Shy, tag, you guessed it. Suckers, they always do that, right? Until they don't. Wink, wink. So as we move into that, that is another trade that is developed off first tag. You guys can limit your risk so much by not scalping every little thing like us. I like to be scalping inside and out. It's very hard to stream that because of stream lag. Sometimes we got 3-second lag, 8-second lag, 15. Sometimes my entry is 7 seconds slower. You hear me and all of a sudden it's not the entry anymore, right? We got to be very careful with those live trades. So that's why we got to teach these. If you utilize first tag metrics, and I'm not clicking buttons until something hits a first tag, I am limiting my risk. Huge, okay? All right, we got about 25, 30 minutes left. Start typing questions so I can go over them. I'm going to keep going. We're going to keep moving into CPI. We're going to trade plan the next day. We're going to move into longer standing time frames on parts and everything else. But type your questions now so I can go through them at the end if you have any. Now, coming through to those zones. Now, that was an awesome day trade. Again, all set up. Golden pockets are great. Yada, yada, yada. We got PPI. Now, I'm going to keep on some metrics here like daily and weekly Fibonacci points, right? We're going to go to CPI. Let's zoom out here a little bit and, again, refocus up. We're done trading. It's Wednesday. It's CPI day. Again, psychologically, I know CPI. We say this a lot in our group, in our premium stream group. We say if CPI is today over here, PPI, that opening range, after hours, after the trade day here, between Tuesday, Wednesday, it does a whole lot of nothing after hours and pre. So as futures traders, sometimes we do trade after hours, 5, 8, 9 p.m. Central is, good to grab an hour or two out of the open. Not between CPI days. Not when it's the day before the night of Tuesday and Wednesday. Don't trade it. So what do we got? Now CPI day comes out, and this is where it's going to get spooky here, guys. And this is just fibs. We're going to add some stuff on the next video to add extra confirmation. It's going to blow your mind. We have CPI day coming up. I'm going to leave a couple things out. You could actually leave PPI up. Now, we know from the action here that it bounced Monday's gold. We're going to see it from the after hours and pre-market that we're going to go to the upside. What does that mean? Well, that means the PPI data to the upside is all first tag, baby, right? All first tag, because we did what? We spent our majority of our Tuesday under the PPI, right? We didn't even fill the price action range of the high-low. So if we take the high-low of the fib, I like to see price action bang both ends of the data candles, right? We didn't do that on the top. We left it shy, and that was because of the 509.99, 1618 Monday that we knew was going to be a magnet target. So again, let's talk magnets. Okay, we scooped over the VWAP, CPI day. We're planning our next pre-market, right? Let's see what we get. All right, CPI is very strong, right? Very, very, very strong. I'm going to look right away. 1618 overlap perfectly with what? A weekly first tag. Oh, man. We got what? 2 first tag metrics right here, along with what? A frickin' 10 SMA daily? Are you kidding me? Let's zone it. So I got a weekly, a 1618. This is PPI's upside 1618. 512, that purple one, 512, 87. The weekly first tag, right? We're in a big gap on CPI, so it's going to be crazy. Now let's look at just a couple before we even add the PPI candle and everything else for even more fibs. We're going to zone out a few things because it gets messy. Zone here. Why? 10 SMA daily, 1618 PPI upside Fibonacci, 618 513.02 weekly. All that we have drawn start to finish. Okay. Zoned out. Booyah. Now I can start getting rid of some of this stuff if I want to, right? I'm going to keep it on for now. It's going to be a little messy, but I want you guys to, if you want to zone it out, fine. I like to keep them on. I know it's messy, but I'm used to it, so it's easier for me. CPI day comes. We bang into those moving averages. We talked about how dangerous those moving averages can be for over-under, especially to that downside where we were going to give up the 100 EMA. It would be beautiful to the 200s, but if we recovered 10 and 50, it was going to just skyrocket right back up, okay? So last but not least, we're going to do this one a little quicker. What do we have up here? Wow, 50, 2618, 2618. Okay, there's a lot of first metrics here. Not only, remember, neon green was what? Monday high-low. So 516.37, first tag 2618. PPI, 2618. 50 fib weekly. Okay, these are a lot of first tag metrics. What do I do? Zone time, baby. Boom. Now, let's say I just delete all these because you want to be a nice, clean trader. Okay? Except for the weekly, because you always want the weekly on. Look at the action now, because we have big range zones, and I'm going to go. Because, again, most important thing, largest candle, okay? And we're going to go over the last bit here of picking your candles or why they're important at the last bit here. So CPI candle, we're going to do this a little faster. You guys should be used to it. High-low, okay? Golden pocket, we got a no tag. It shied. But look at the massive, unit we have here. 10 SMA holds, it starts to do what? It breaks over, right here, the top of CPI and the 50 SMA daily. It's that dash red right here. 10 SMA holds. Snap. You might have missed that trade. I probably wouldn't have been able to long that perfectly. I would have waited for something to the GP long, structure build. But this one here, over these highs, it did what? It broke a higher high from pre-market. So we got snap and then back test. That is the key right there, right? 50 SMA breaks over. Back test, what do we call it? confirmation of support. We're not just gambling here. We wait for it to break, and I would rather miss it than risk it. Let it come back, hit, continue. Okay? So I have a gangster zone right here. Just beautiful. It doesn't get much better than triple overlap fib zones, okay? And along with VWAP, let's activate this. Top is at 51692. I just want to move it over, obviously, to here. 51692. Because we created that zone. I forgot to move it over. So we know anything above this triple Fibonacci zone or double, I think I'm going to overlay in 10. That was what the triple was, 10 SMA daily, is good to here, right? It's beautiful. And we have a 1618 from the CPI to deal with as well. And we can utilize a few things here. So let's take a peek. So we have the CPI. It breaks over the 10 to 50, holds, rushes. Okay, great. Let's say I missed the long. Well, our target area long was here. So I can do what? I can start looking for the opposite and opposing trade. I'm going to bring up my oscillation indicators, and I'm going to say, well, we were cooked here on CPI. Now we got a lower high RSI. MACD's got some indecision, but on the roll here, about 9:30, hour after, we're doing pretty good. Well, what did we talk about for that first 15? Let's slap that on because I missed that opening trade. The first 15 is important. Why? Because it hit a 10 SMA daily, a 50 SMA daily. That is why. The candles that touch large standing fibs or moving averages are the most important. All right, now what did we do? We're stacking. Holy moly, we got another 1618 into our zone. So we have 4 different indicators telling us that this orange zone is mass resistance. We got a million indicators lined up here. 4, but So it came into the 1618. Boom. Wow, right to the golden pocket. Where's the golden pocket of the 15-minute open? Oh, this looks familiar. A giant orange zone that we said had triple overlay. Let's back up a little bit so we can see it in real time. Wow, look at that. Golden pocket, 1618, monster amount of resistance back down to the GP. So again, if you missed the long, this was your short scalp. Where would your short scalp take place? Anything under the 1618 fib for the 15-minute open travels back to the 100. If there's continuation, golden pocket. And again, now if you miss that short, what's your outlook, your buy swap? Into the GP, right? First tag 15 GP. Look where this GP lines up. I'm not going to keep overlapping it because we already have an orange level there, but how many levels do you need? 5 different support blocks right there. Off Fibonacci, CPI, daily moving averages, so on and so forth. So 1618, back to, boom, orange zone, and off she goes, right? To the upside. Interesting, right? And again, day after day after day. Now, one of the biggest takeaways here too is that weekly first tag. I didn't really cover that because we had so many freaking zones, but the weekly first tag right here, this is another reason why we were going to go up to the 50. So it held this 513 weekly 61.8 teal right up to the 50. But again, we had like 7 different metrics here. So, but weekly is most important, which means the next day after CPI tag is 518.71. Let's do it real fast. Pre-market, that was that gnarly ass rip that we had right here. Pre-market Friday, above the 50, 38.20 needs to hit. Let's back out. Did we ever get it? No. So that actually leaves us with a, oh no, we got it right here. That's where it was. Yep. Okay. Thursday. I forgot about Thursday. Thursday. We had that pull back down into, and that's why we shorted Thursday, actually. This was the main driver. I forgot all about that. Let's go over this one real fast. Thursday, we talked about this algo. And then we talked about the opening 15 no GP. Yeah, let it go. There we go. Where do we see some confluence points? Ooh, 2618 and 1618. And a 50 weekly. Massive zone. Okay. Getting messy. Let's delete some of these. Support resistance. 15-minute open drive down. We actually called this one because we called yesterday's highs coming down to hold that gap and then push down. Golden pocket tag, reverse, huge over under because of all the things we just stacked and the 50. We got our tag of the 38.20, right? So we got that one. Now moving into Friday, same thing. I'm going to look at those weeklies. We called the gap fill here because there was no reason to be in a gap up off just a continuation metric. Slam back down, put our dailies on like always. So we do this last candle. We get to the questions. Trying to get everything in here for questions if you got them. If not, we'll roll back in. I'm just trying to do this one quick. It all applies. Remember, first tags, daily, every day. So I'm going to keep the same weekly. I'm going to fib out Thursday high-low. That becomes all first tag metrics for Friday during live trading. We'll do neon green again because we did that with Monday. And again, we're just going to overlap and overlap and overlap and overlap until we find huge specific zones just on Fibonacci. Oh, that was tough. Okay, see? And this is why we shorted again the Friday open. So I shorted the QQQ open here for magnet down to VWAP. Why is that? Here's Thursday's 1618. Thursday, downside, high low from here, high, low, pointed to the upside, held the 10 SMA daily that we talked about. Pre-market was very important for that squeeze because once we rebutted and found support above the 50 and the 10, it was squeeze time. It was also golden pocket here. And then look where we ended up, 1618. First tag from Thursday's 1618, and that's where, again, was going to be an abrupt reaction right down to Thursday's highs. And we also called this gap fill. And we had that short marked on a bunch of different levels. We had it all. So any questions you guys got? I'm going to stop real quick, get them in here on stacking these, and then we're going to jump to a couple little things real fast on how to pick these candles, because I did critique that, but I want to do some daily, weekly examples. We also have a video on here that's how to pick daily, weekly candles and gaps if you want to check that out, but we'll do it live here again. How do you know which time frame to use when fibbing out candles? You've used 5 and 15, absolutely. All of them. The whole point is to catch those overlapping levels. That's the whole point, right? If we have a 5-minute Fibonacci and a 15 Fibonacci and a daily all telling us the same zone as an over-under, as we just did there 3 different times, right? That told us the highest points, right? Highest points. And it's not if a Fibonacci is going to work out, it's when a Fibonacci works out. So how do you know which one? Well, the data, right? Use your 5-minute datas. Your dailies are the most important because they have no tag metrics every day and weekly. So again, which ones do you use? We start, like we started the video, we start at the weekly and we work our way down. We make weekly fibs. And then we start the day Monday. We don't have a daily fib because it's a new week. Then we fib out Monday like we did, and we walk it all the way back up. And that would be resulting in a weekly GP no tag here as well. Because remember, we drew this one from here. This is the ending weekly candle. Monday is the start of it. So once it got inside 503.82, it was a magnet right to the GP because we had a no tag last week. It all starts with overlapping. You start with you want to use multiple because why wouldn't you want a point of interest on the chart that is associated with 4 different time frame Fibonacci's rather than just one? Why would you just use one 5-minute or one 1-minute Fibonacci and hope that works when I can use a 5, a 15, and a daily, and they all come in at the same place, just like we showed. We just showed you guys those review the video. Maybe if you're late or just tune it in late. I know it's a question that could be late, but go back into the video and watch just in case you're late. Coming in, we need those confluence points. We need a bunch of support resistance levels at the same place, right? And that's what we showed you from the 5, 15, and daily. So as we came in every single next day, we had first tag metrics to worry about, and we had stacking catalyst, right? And then we talked intraday. Set the default back. I could do a default background color, yeah. I don't know if TOS fills that, but yeah, true. I could do that. Yes, sir. All right. I don't see any more questions. We're going to jump into a couple little things here, right? So I'm just going to jump into a few little tiny things here on why we're picking the candles we're picking. Algorithms are very specific with picking the candles. And now, like I just said, it's stacking the catalyst. If I can get a special daily to line up with a special weekly to line up with a CPI, and all of them are coming in at the same place, that is going to be my main focus of over-under for the day because everything is telling me that this level has hit on 3 different time frames. It's huge, right? So let's start with the daily and the weeklies. Obviously, weeklies are a little bit harder to find the magical candles in the weekly here, especially in a bull metric run that we've had. Obviously, the election year coming up, there was no way we were going to end at anything but highs on a re-election year. So it's a little bit harder for the upside of the weekly. So on a weekly time frame here, picking is just usually last week. I'm not going to go into a whole bunch of, well, this weekly is exactly specific because it's very rare to get weeklies. I only see about 3 on here that are interesting, okay? This is one of them right here because this is a tight body. It's very, very, down sword here. This really thin body is very important to price action as we come into it. And then the range ones are what I use on weekly. So to be honest, there's all-time high, You know, this high range, this green guy that hit the 10 SMA. So the candles that hit moving averages are much more specific. And then this guy, because he's just shape awkward. Any high body, low body, or flat body dojis, very interesting here. So if I put a high-low fib here, you got a pretty nice metric there, failing the 2618 back down to a GP no tag as well here. See, broke out, no tag, lower high, final tag. And then again, if I missed all this and the price action was coming down, I would know that this support was going to be a massive dip by day from the weekly. So I can make that a teal zone because it's a weekly zone and all my levels on the weekly are teal. You have to go drop down to the daily chart like we discussed in the first one. That's pretty nuts. Look at that sucker. So when it broke down inside that weekly 100 range again, it opened up here on the daily under the 50. That would have been bottom of the day right there. Massive, massive zone for that weekly. That's a first tag. So obviously it opened up here, made its way all the way down, and you could have waited for a bottom dip and started buying into that weekly first tag. So again, these work on all time frames. It's not if a Fibonacci works, it's when a Fibonacci works, especially on the longer term. So let's start picking some daily candles real fast. So again, any questions, post them up, and we're going to go into part 2 intraday on how to use each and daily. We're going to expand with Anchor, view apps, and everything else on part 2 for our day trade setups. This is how we set up every day. Now, what daily candle is important and why? Well, I have a couple different things. Gaps are the most important for me, and then dojis after that. And then high range candles, which are the really big ones on the screen, like the Powell Dump candle, come about third. Now, you got to use them together. They all work. So the candles in there kind of between number 2 and 3 are the candles that touch moving averages, like we said. So remember that Monday that we drew in the first part of the video here, we had drawn, is what I was trying to say. That is very specific because it hit the 100 EMA on the daily chart. So this candle... low hit 100, so these fibs are going to be extremely relevant. More relevant than this one. Not quite as much as this one, because this is a gap candle. Now remember, gaps are number 1, so the gap candles are most important, okay? So let's talk about a daily fib setup right here and which ones I would use and why. Well, if we were coming down and you watched our videos and we said the 100 EMA was our target from those highs and we were looking at, you know, like 6% pullbacks here. Yeah, 5-6%ers coming down to that 100. I would start looking at the candles that again have what? No GP tag, first tag needed. No GP tag, we need first tags. Some of the candles that should stick out to you right away are this guy. Okay, 1-7. We did this one on Friday. We said the targets were coming here because this daily candle has no golden pocket tag, right? So when we're charting off on any time frame and you come in to the downside, we know that this 521.07 to 518.04 is a magnet. And what's the best time to use a magnet is when we break back inside the fib box. We call this the fib box, right? That's the high-low. If price action sneaks outside of that range, we look for extensions or outside opposing forces like the 100 EMA. So we had a first tag on 110 right here. Interesting. Let's take a peek at that. If we had this candle, and why is this candle important? It's associated by doji, right? It's a gap fill candle. Look at this red candle. It filled this gap. It's important. It's just as important as this doji up here because you would have used the doji body right here as support resistance for that day because this doji body is a gap, right? From 1.3 to 1.6 over weekend gap. Or is that the single day off? That might have been the single day off, 3, 4, 5. No, we're good. So let's take a peek at the 1.7 trade that created this no golden pocket tag. It's a gap fill candle. So I drew the fibs here and it's on 1.7, right? So if I was 1.6, 1.7, I'll go back to that 10-day, back 5 minute. We're going to see where that Fibonacci is created and where that doji is created, right? Pretty interesting, right? Doji center, right? Planning for the 7 candle here. This is the big dump candle, right? This is where we created those fibs. So this is the creation point of the box, pointed to the downside. And what happened 2 days later? Very interesting, right? Because of this creation candle, this is creation, okay? This is the box. Let's see if you guys can, just in case it's harder to see. The golden pocket, right? No tag, right? Let's, freaking thing. Hard to see with the gray. Very interesting candle. He was one of the easier trades. 7 candle here. That's that box. Notice 8 right here. 1-8. Where's my drawing tool? January 8th. All it did was chop that 50 SMA daily in the dash, and it came up. No GP, no GP, no GP. Chop day, right? Not the easiest day trade. Probably would have made it out alive. I think we did, but regardless. No GP. And what happened? It broke out of the 100 fib. This is the bottom of the 7th candle, January 7. January 7 and 50 SMA is right here. Algos didn't know what the hell to do with this. Am I going to break through the 50 and the high range of January 7th? Because they're both right here. They're all right here at 513 and change. Well, continuation 2. The next day, right? Jobs. I don't know, was there's 10th, Friday. I forget what this was. PC, jobs, whatever it was, doesn't matter. We still have a no GP tag, but now we are outside of that 513 and 14 cents we just talked about. We finally made it out of the 7th candle. This is January 7th low, right? January 8th, choppy shit. Finally broke out January 10th, right? Look at, broke out in pre-market. First tag of the 1618. First tag, right? Look at the divergence. Double bottom. All falling, all higher lowing on the MACD and RSI, giving you a little bit of a bop. But regardless, if you would have missed, let's say, the pre-market dump and you didn't know what to do with the day, but you had this baby here as a first tag and you are super patient and you're not clicking buttons for the millionth time until first tags hit, which limits your risk. You don't have to scalp the series speed that I scalp. You just have to wait for these, right? And then you come in, boom, first tag. What does that give you? It's QQQ. So what do we know at the price level? What does it do? Loops. It breaks through. It gives you a little slip. If this is the support at 505.22, I fully expect QQQ to slip a little bit past it and then come back. Notice we're at -2 VWAP, back to regular VWAP. Notice that I would have longed the crap out of the 1618 for a scalp to at least the VWAP and took off 80-90%. So here to VWAP, 3.28. One trade, 3.28. Do you know what that is on NQ? Like 130 some points on NQ. One trade for the day. Well, I missed all this. I don't want to chase it under. I'm not confident enough to short a low break, but I know that this 1618 from the 17 candle that was built right here, this is the first time we're seeing it. Fib box 17, 1618 first tag. Look what that sucker did. Smash, smash, all the way back up. Beautiful first tag metric. First tag. Don't touch anything till first tag. It'll save your life. Don't scalp every little momentum move. Trade boring. Okay? So these are the candles on why we're creating. Now, why is that important? Again, that golden pocket we talked about had no tag. So again, let's do this. No golden pocket tag. So what are we waiting for? Outside opposite forces, 100 EMA tag. We got it. We're walking it back up. Anything above that 1618 is going to be continuation. So what do we talk about QQQ? It comes down on the daily chart, slips past the 1618, finds the 100 EMA. So my brain would be going, okay, well, anything over that 1618 retraces to the 100 fib. And we had CPI and PPI to help us push us up. But regardless, I knew exactly where we were coming to. Why did I short the open right here that I talked about on Thursday? Why did I short that open? Because it was a gap up. And I said it didn't deserve a gap up. So why would I short? Here's CPI Wednesday. Here's Thursday. Why would I short that? Look at the golden pocket. No tag on January 7th. We just talked about it a million times. Look at the bottom of the GP. It opened up into the damn first tag. So I would assume we are going to reject from the golden pocket first tag down to yesterday's highs to fill that gap. Right? So that was my high probability scalp trade on Thursday where I said I'm shorting out of the gate. We rode that sucker down. Why is that? Because the GP right here. Look at the algo that we just talked about in Thursday's pre-market. That's a suspicious spot. Directly on the 50, right? And we're going to get deeper into what algos are and anchor VWAPs are next lesson. Any more questions, my friends, that we had here? Because look at the conversion points right here, man. They're so good. Broke out of the GP, 1618 and 2618 both tagged. 100 fib, lower low, 50. It's just so clean. And hit your 2618 from the doji body. Yeah, exactly. You can do that doji body downside too. Will this work on earnings gaps as well? I'm a futures trader. I don't gamble earnings at all, but you can use it on any candle. Fibonacci is just creation off high low. It doesn't matter. You have to, as I'm saying, where you pick your points of interest for your Fibonacci. Those are the most important. So, like if you're talking earnings and we go into like, Apple or something or whoever, you're trying to play. It's not something that you want to just pick. Oh, it's just an earnings candle. Well, there's more important candles than just an earnings candle. So if Apple had was there divvy over here, earnings 1.64 right here on October 31st. This candle, not only is it a gap, right? Because we had a gap down where Apple closed here, opened here, but it pushed back up, left a little bit of a gap. You could use the candle that touched this because it's the 50. This candle touched the 50 SMA. It's just a Fibonacci point, right? It's not, there's no golden like, oh, we have to use it on earnings. We have to use it where the computers talk to each other where the candles are hitting moving averages. So right here, could you use this as a play? Absolutely. But what's more important here? It's obviously the 100 EMA, right? So it came down to that 100 EMA, and let's say that you walked it off of here. Here's the gap down, right? And if this candle setup doesn't look good to you, we know it's a bad Fibonacci. Why would I use that? I'd come back down to here, and for me, I need something that the candles talk to each other, right? So let's find a better earnings. Here we go. Here's a massive earnings one. So if this was earnings, then we had that drop-off point. Actually, I'm not going to do that one. That's too big of a gap. That one's, where's a gap and go or something like that? Here we go on Apple. I know it had a bottom gap and go from past years. So gap candles, I use these as full range. This is a large gap, so this Fibonacci would be the biggest of the big on Apple. So yes, you can use them earnings, do a high-low, because this is the earnings candle and it's associated with a gap. It doesn't matter that it's earnings. It matters that the computers have a massive gap on what it's watching for. And generally speaking, when it pushes down into the gap, whether it's a gap up, pushing down into a gap and going, it usually reverses and does not fill first time, especially the big fang. So Apple right here, high-low. Creation candle. Came down to hold the 1618, shied it, which is fine. This is your over-under, right? Because we fibbed out the high-low here. It comes down. We're actually holding the 200 there too. But regardless, this is your biggest focus. So once we are inside the 100 fib, it goes to golden pocket, right? So yes, you can use these on equities, right? A better use case of this would be watching that grind back up, flipping it, because then we'd be inside the candle as we discussed. Go to that upside and start watching the upside metrics here on the fibs. So again, your gap and go here on Apple, you would have waited for it to break out of what? The gap candle, the most important candle, right? So you're waiting for the consolidation, you're waiting for it to do something, do something, do something. Oh, we broke out. Look at that. We broke out of the high range, 187.03. Where did it go? Right to the 1618. So that would have been a trade plan where I would have seen this right here, a doji day on 514. And I'm real big on doji, so I would have took the doji body and I would have went, this is a huge over-under for the day because we got a perfect doji on the daily. Take a look at this candle. That's a massive one at 515. Oh, perfect bottom. Crazy, right? So then it goes over 187, holds the next day because we got a breakout candle. We are over the earnings candle. This told me that we have potential for continuation. We're clearly over the earnings. So we use 187. Anything over 187 up to 1618, even for the swing. Take your profit. Right? Apple over the doji, 21618. I wouldn't have caught the perfect top. I would have got out right at the 1618. I would have left all that money on the board because I'm using statisticals. But yeah, 1.23%, 2.3 points. But yeah, absolutely. There's no reason you can't use these on anything. It's high. It's just high low. It's Fibonacci is how the computers speak to each other, especially when the candles are gap, high range, or touching another moving average. Right? And you can do this with anything. I would prefer to do it on the markets because we're futures traders, okay? We trade every single day on NQES off of the QQQ and SPY. It's the best trading ever, in my opinion. I don't like playing select stocks anymore. It's so boring. You can do so much more on QQQ and SPY daily. You can use any gap and ticker. Yep, we're going to move in a much bigger divergence downside. It gives you 2 to 5 heads up. Oscillation. Walking itself down. Yep, it didn't have a GP tag. Correct. Another no GP tag. Nike to the moon. Well, after the tariff trouble ends, yeah, that could be. What's going on, Short Fridays? Nike? Oh, what's going on over there, Nike? I haven't seen it. Ooh. You're thinking the tariffs? After the tariffs, maybe Nike gets a little rebound here? Was this one of those go woke, go broke cases where you see Nike like do some weird stuff with, the general public not liking certain athletes and stuff that they picked? I forget what it was. I don't know if that was it, but... Yeah. I mean, here's Nike, for example, another one. Huge weekly, because this is where we start, Massive earnings candle. GP, no tag. What do I look? Another example just for fun. Stuff's very fun. This is just helping your confirmation, man. Fibonacci is so fun. Oop, that's supposed to be a daily chart. So we got our weekly, and did I just miss the color change? Oh no, it's showing right there, all colors. Okay, just not changing. Okay, all right. Maybe I missed okay, I don't know. Okay, so we got our weekly, right? So here's that gap down. It shows the massive intra-week gap, so it's a giant body. The second it recovered $74.39, it was gonna go to the GP. Fresh low scam right here. Finally started closing above it. Look at our breakout day. Shorts could not hold it down underneath the ER bottom, right? Weekly, weekly, weekly. Short said, fuck that. We tried 1, 2, 3 different times. Now we're back up here again. We have RSI high or low. We got the MACD on trend. I think the short's lost. You know, we got a lower low scam here, which means, you know, you have a fresh low break to reverse, which we talk about on algos. We're going to talk a lot more about algos and anchor view apps on the next session, part 2, maybe even a part 3, because these are long. So. But Nike goes back to the golden pocket on the weekly, and this is the daily. So the second that Nike went over 75 bucks right here, all the way up to the GP, hits the GP, comes down. We find outside and opposite forces. What happened? 50 SMA, gapped over. What happened? Came down right back to the 50 SMA. It's called confirmation, my friends. We pushed over, magnet back, long again. 50 RSI helping you out there too. And then, of course, we've hit the other side of the golden pocket, the top. So just burn that image to your head. Check that out. That is one weekly candle for a gap down. And then you waited a few weeks. Then it finally broke inside, and you had that run all the way to the GP, because nothing goes in a straight line. It's trend. Breakout, pull back. Anything above that 50 is cooking. Right back up to GP. Oh, first tag at $89. That's the top of the golden pocket. Algos say, I don't want to go any higher. What else do we have? 200 EMA in the fuchsia color right here. Moving average. So not only did we smash into the 200 EMA for the first time in a million years, we got to the golden pocket. So that would be a short watch. And damn near you went earnings to earnings. You could have longed this earnings, got out at this earnings, and then watched the fail to the weekly and continuation down. So the Fibonacci's work. Just practice your draw points. Start from the weekly, work your way down. Hello, friends. Looks like trading futures on Schwab does not trigger PDT rule. Is this correct? That is correct. There is no PDT in any futures trading. I don't care if you're on TD Ameritrade, Tastyworks, NinjaTrader, Schwab, Fidelity, wherever you can trade futures, there is no such thing as PDT. Now, there are certain brokers that help you with margin that are better than the others. AMP Trading for futures, Ninja Trading for futures, and then if you want to do funded, it's another version where you pay for. It's not really a demo account. It's a chance account to pass. But if you're sticking with real accounts here, margin is way better at NinjaTrader and AMP Futures. So are commissions. It only takes one NQ contract, $1,000, okay, on NinjaTrader. So it costs you the margin, right, the price to enter, $1,000 for one NQ, okay? And on the NQ, these things move, okay? So one NQ contract is $20 a point. So let's just say you caught half the day's range right here. Here to top, whatever. 280 some point. Let's just, I can do the math. Let's say we caught the full half. $289 times 20. $5,780 in one day trade, only utilizing $1,000 of margin. Okay, look into futures. There's no PDT anywhere. Futures is not a stock. It's not an ETF. A futures contract, even on options, applies. So if you want to trade options on NQ or ES, which is the futures ticker, you are trading options on a futures contract. There is still no PDT, even though you're trading options. It's a huge life hack right there. You can trade ES and NQ options without having $25,000 because it is not a stock. So you can do options or futures or just trade futures straight from a really good broker with good margin like AMP or Ninja, in my opinion. If you want the futures funded, you could go through Top Step. You pay $50 for a $50 account, you pass it, and then you get a funded account to make real money on. Futures doesn't have PDT. Yep. They have missed the digital sales. Very bad, Nike. Okay. So that's another catalyst for that downside. We could see a turn on Nike. Nike might be something, you know, Nike's not going to go anywhere. That's like when Meta was 90 some dollars is 100. One of my students, one of my personal lesson friends here, he's been taking private lessons from me forever. And we were right here, that pandemic, and he was kind of, not pandemic, where's our 19 here? I drew it all out for him right here. 19. There it is. The pandemic lows. He was freaking out because we're at like $147, $149. I said, just buy more. Any dip in meta, I said, just buy more and hold. He owned it since like 91. He ended up tripling up at 160 or 170 right here, and he's still holding. So he's killing it. I think Nike is going to be the exact same thing. I highly doubt Nike is going to just fall off the face of the earth and get bought out by Temu. You know what I mean? Nike will be a long-term again. You just got to watch that chart for the turnarounds and the TA and confirmation. Thanks, Semper. I need a good catch up with Raina's strategy and a good playlist from his channel. The entire thing of indicators we use and then the recaps, they're only about 17 to 20 minutes long on the recaps. And I go over every single little thing I just taught here today, except how we traded it, why we went long or short, where we drew the fibs, every single recap. Every video there is just, it's a tiny little 15 to 20 minute video. And then the indicators we use, it'll catch you up with anything that you need to see. You know, the 100 EMA is green, the VWAP is purple. Indicators we use is a really short 7-minute video or something like that goes over just what I use on the chart so you're not confused if we're flying through stuff. How to use, yeah, there you go. Semper Zoom, appreciate it. Uses RSI MACD. Yep. Didn't know about the options of futures. I was holding on regular options because, yeah, exactly. I used to too, until I figured out that you can trade options with no PDT on a futures contract. So Tasty Trade's my favorite options. They do really well. Their platform's nice. It's a little funny trading on it. Their web browser, because it sucks, get their desktop. But they have really good commissions there at Tasty Trade. You can also trade futures at Tasty Trade if you got a really big account. You don't care about margin, 12 grand or something like that. Intraday margin is a couple thousand for a micro. Unfortunately, it's only $50 for a micro on or is it $60 for a micro on a mini or a micro MNQ. Mini is bigger, 1,000. But yeah, you can do 0-day DTEs over and over and over again on ES and NQ. No, $5 grand in your account, no PDT. I tell everyone 98% of humans have 2 feet, need shoes. Nike will stay. Absolutely. It's not a bad analogy. I like that. Yeah, Nike ain't going anywhere. They got some gaps down here to fill. They got a lot of imbalances that were major. It's just their cycle rotation. I bet 3 years or so. I mean, it might be a little bit longer. I don't see us doing economy-wise great after 26. I got a big prediction video to come out after 25 here and why we were 6. But, you know, as we kind of move in a little far, we can't get to the chart there, but late 2020 series into 2030, this would be a choice for me. I would definitely pick up like average in Nike buying 1 to 2 shares. You know, once we start seeing $40, $50, something like that, I'd buy that monthly. I wouldn't have a problem with that. What are your thoughts on TTWO? Once Grand Theft Auto 6 is released, making the best game sales in history. The delusion of Grand Theft Auto 6, the best meme I've ever seen, right? Everybody's waiting for it. We have traded... Take Two way back in the day here. You can see these lines. These are really old. I don't have this is tech to me. This is grouped in with you know, market strength. This isn't going to do anything outside of what SPY and QQQ do, in my opinion. So something like this, you know, can it move catalyst wise? Yes. You're talking about an outside catalyst, which comes in. Release of Grand Theft Auto, everybody gets excited. Okay, great. You know, then we can start flourishing up on hype, and it becomes a GME scenario or something stupid because it runs off hype, right? But yeah, it's game development and stuff like that. We used to trade Blizzard. You know, Take-Two is not really that different for interactive. I say move with Q. So what I would say is, if they release, obviously it's going to be a little different for Catalyst, and nobody knows when that's going to be, right? I think there's speculation, but I haven't seen anything, so I'm not going to be the one to ask. I'm specifically good at AI and tech. This kind of just falls in line with it, in my opinion, so it moves with the market. SPY had a horrible year 2022. We had quantitative easing came in 3. Presidential election is 2024, so there's no way the market was going to close on lows. The market was going to go all-time high. TTWO followed that trend of SPY and QQQ and other tech. I just don't see it pulling away unless it has an outside catalyst. Let's say outside catalyst like the game does release, and they get a big old boost in hype, right? Yeah, then take it, sure. But I think accumulation is something for me. Like 2025 will be a volatile year like this. 6, not so much. I'm not looking at big tech doing well. So this has to have a catalyst that's going to kick it up to the hype. If the game releases it, great. I'm not the one to ask for, you know, crystal ball question on that one. Unfortunately, I won't be able to help you. But I could see it, but that's something where it's a wait and play. It's something where I'm extremely patient. Let's say Grand Theft Auto 6 does come out and it causes a massive gap up. I'm just going to fib the gap up and play the way I always do. I'm only going to catch the confirmation move. Tasty is 25% preferred margin, so MNQ is about 600, MQ is 6,000. Okay, yeah, and that unfortunately does change. Mine was like, yeah, like 6-7 grand somewhere in there. Yep, not too good of account size, but make a difference. Micro commissions suck. Yeah, you don't want the commissions kind of like. I'm just saying, Tasty Trade that Rob's talking about there. It's not the best futures trading platform. If you're a large account player, you just want to dabble with a couple micros here or there, try some swings. It's fine. It does options really well, so I would take your options trading to Tastyworks. You can trade futures, no PDT there. You can also trade crypto on Tasty Trade. So you can do stocks with margin, options with margin, futures, and crypto. It's kind of like a one-stop shop. Tasty Trade's not a bad platform for everything. Ooh, excuse me. Ninja Trader has the best commissions. Yep, AMP will also match those. So if you do want to trade with AMP, you can tell them that you have a lifetime Ninja, and they only charge you this much. AMP will match it for free. I just learned that as well. So I paid for the Ninja Trader premium platform for their lowest fees, and AMP said they'd match them in an email. So I was like, oh man, well I didn't have to pay for that. Oh shit, I just misclicked that. Whoops. Oh crap. Put user in timeout. No, I think I just deleted one of your things there, Semper. Sorry, I didn't mean to click that. Nuclear Steel, largest charter in California steel section, CSI, private company, benefit from rebuild Cali. Yep, and that's another. Yeah, we see insurance company plays there off hype, fear, and greed for sure. Trump has helped construct. It seems great play. No, I agree with that. I don't see any logic there. That's the psychology of trading. That's 101 right there. Whenever there's a large fire, whenever there's a pandemic, rentals, travel, whatever the psychology is. I'm actually going to go into a lot of psychology market trading after we finish these lives. And I don't see any more questions coming up on that. I just realized that I got less than 8 minutes to leave my house. So off to my next appointment. So hope you guys enjoyed the stream. If you guys want to trade live with us at any point in time, the link is in the description, my friends. We do this live in the day trading on futures every single day. That's my bread and butter. I love it. I love trading the futes. We also talk, market sentiment, long-term goals, tech, big S&P, so on and so forth. It is what it is. Appreciate you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next broadcast. We're going to do this every Saturday. If you guys want to tune in, we're going to do part 2 on technical analysis, algorithms, anchors, stacking these catalysts, and showing you guys why these zones are important. Take care. Trade safe.